Grand Rising, I'm Ran Usha, and welcome to show number 16 on Conversations on Art, a show where friends get together to talk about their art, their creativity, and hopefully we can learn from each other and maybe even inspire each other. Today I have on my good friend Theo. Grand Rising, Theo.
Hey. Hi, everyone. How we all doing?
Well, Theo is a good friend of mine. We grew up together and we played football all of our lives. So this show is about the art of football. And it's a bit different. Normally I have on artists, poets, singers. So the question is, what is the art of football? So when I say that, Theo, what does that mean to you?
The word, see, the thing is, the word art is something that needs to be defined. But when you say art, I'm straight away I look at the creativity and the smoothness of football. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But maybe with a deeper conversation, I might explain it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's that football played in a kind of expressive way, um, where you show your creativity, you show your unique skills. And I think I've always been inspired by players that I watched or teams that played in a way which I felt seemed to not just win matches, but played it in a way which really inspired me.
Okay. See, that's the thing, because now it's like exactly what you're saying there, because thinking of that and how you like you want to play the game, how you like to watch people play the game and everything else. And I think that's what, when we talk about the word art, from my point of view, that's how I look at it. Example, it's going on that pitch. The artistry is for me to show the ability that I've got to be able to achieve the end goal, which is to help my team win or to just get the better of my opponent by means that I think is easier, whether it's trickery, maybe wrong footing my opponent with ability, with skill that I feel is required. If, example, I see that he's right foot heavy, I might decide that, okay, the art in me tells me he's probably weaker on his left foot. So maybe I might do a shimmy or a dummy to go left, but then go to my right, which is his weaker foot, which is the left foot. That, not trying to put too much technical aspect on it. That's probably what I'm looking at when I say artistry, to to see a situation and find a solution for it.
But when you're playing, it's not something you're really thinking about it in that moment, is it? It comes
No, naturally.
instinctively.
Yes. And that's it. And that's what it is. Because example, things that we do without, like, exactly that words we use without thinking about, that's where the ability. And I call it gift. I call it a gift to play football a certain way, because I think you can teach anybody to play football a particular way. But there are aspects of football which I'm talking about with art side of it, where I think it's a gift, where it's like you're born with it, because it comes so natural to you that you will be playing and you would just naturally do it without thinking too deeply. But you've seen it. It's almost as though you've seen it so many times before, you know what to do. And sometimes the moment inspires you to do something, you just see it and you just do it. Like you say, you can't really prepare for it, saying, oh, I'm going to go on a pitch and do this particular thing. There's aspects of it that you can, but a true art is things that you just naturally do without thinking too much of it. And honestly, I believe that's a gift.
I think it's what it comes like really kind of instinctive, because I think in the moment, no training can tell you what to do, because you're in this unique moment which has never happened before, will not happen again. And you do something and maybe you don't even know why you've done it,
Mm,
but it comes through you.
yep, that's it. And then sometimes, like you say, you watch. you watch, you know, your friends will probably say to you, "Oh my God, what was that?" And I'm like, "Do you know what? You just did it because that's what was required at the time. Instinctively, you did it." And I'm saying, this is why I'm saying that a lot of the time you probably see something that I don't want to be wicked, but then the average player will probably want not see it. They will probably try to do something different, but you will do something. You are some of the greats, whatever. They will do amazing things. And as a fan myself, I said that I think to myself, how the hell has he done that? They probably couldn't explain it. It just happened in a moment, and you think, because there's something that, example, Maradona a long time ago he did when he was playing at in Italy. I've forgotten the team now. Napoli, for Napoli, where the ball came to him, and do you know what? He was literally almost standing underneath the goal, the goal, and he chipped it in a way. As a fan, even up to today, when I see that skill, I'm thinking to myself, I couldn't explain to you how he did it. He probably couldn't, but at the moment, it was the perfect skill, perfect timing, everything. So we're talking about football artistry, and that's what we're talking about. That's what we go deeper. So this can get really deep, where the average person think, I don't know if this is a football topic, but it could go really deep, because if we talk about the art of it, this is things that are natural gifts that are born, and you can't teach. You just can't. It can't be taught. You can show people how to try and do a curved turn, or how to do certain skills and blah blah, but there's certain aspects of artistry that, example, where did Cruyff get it from? You know, it's just it's a natural moment, and you just do it, and you think to yourself, bloody hell, okay. You know, and we can't even explain it sometimes. So, you know, there's so many different levels of it. So, you know, we could go really deep with that, you know. So it's really up to you on how you see it.
Because I think sometimes, you know, when you see people interviewed on TV and they're asked, how do you do that? What they're trying to do is trying to explain something with thought, which they never thought about. So they're trying to rationalize it in their heads to explain it, but in the moment, it can't really be explained.
No. And because you've asked a question, it's almost as though, like you say, you have to find an answer. We have to find an explanation that makes sense without going too deep and sounding like you don't know what you're talking about. But half the time, you haven't thought about it. It's just you've done something and you thought to yourself, okay, I just did it because I saw the player, or I just felt it was the right thing, or you anticipated that, you know, he was going to make that move. You know, and again, it's like the art, you know, it's almost like it's the more, as what they keep saying, you know, the more words you have, the better your vocabulary, the more words you can use. I think it's a bit like artistry and football skills, because some people, the abundance of it is that they can implement a particular skill in a situation where they haven't calculated, oh, I need it for this exactly, but it happens, and they know what to do straight away. Where the average person might just try some complicated method or whatever. So these are the greats, and these are the athletes that we're talking about when we talk about artistry. So it gets really, really deep, as in what that art is. And like I said, I truly believe it's just a God-given gift and talent. There's not a lot you can do about it.
So what happens with you, because you're one of the best players that I played with, and I remember you playing passes. For you, it was finding the space with the pass, but it's vision, and we hear that word a lot in sport. I think it's that ability to, you kind of come out yourself and you can see the pitch. You see it from different perspectives, and you're able to make a pass that no one else has seen. So where is that coming from in you when you're making these passes? What's going on inside of you?
Whew. See, again, is that question where you've asked me again. It's like, I feel like I got to give you an explanation, But I just feel sometimes, you know what, like honestly, it's like you think to yourself, don't get me wrong, we didn't get to the level where we probably should have done a lot better with it. But you just feel like it's an ability, an innate ability that you just give it, because we'll all learn how to pass. We all learn how to dribble. We learn certain things, but some people put a certain finesse or a certain level of authority around it that I truly don't know where it comes from. I think it's just, I can't say to you because you practice, but it can be any minute. I think I also feel is the being comfortable to touch or play a football with any part of the foot. I think that helps, because example, you might do a pass to the outside of your foot, or you might realize, okay, outside of a foot will be better because it might give it a little spin, or you might realize that, no, you know what, maybe I have to put my laces on it, or maybe you might realize like the great Romario used to do, like just put a toe on it instead of, do you know what I mean? So I think being comfortable with all aspect of touching the football, which is what we talk about, you know, like how we talk about, they say 10,000 hours makes you an expert, because you've done it so long. And being from a West African background in Ghana, it's the kind of thing that once we get up, the first thing in the morning, honestly, is nothing else matters. You get up, brush your teeth, and all you want to do is pick up a football and go, or just go and find football, and find where people are playing football, because you know where things are done. Or you get up, the minute you get up, you've got a football right next to you. And sometimes it was so bad example, we didn't need to have a football. I would just get up, pick up a pair of socks, fold up some bits of paper or some leaves or whatever, put it in a pair of socks. I've got a football. So I could be at home, I could be kicking it, I could be chesting it or shouldering it, headering it. So it's a thing where I have got access to a football all the time. So I think that 10,000 hours, we did a lot more than 10,000 through the lifetime, because you from the from a very young age, every single day you have to play football. I think once you love it like that, so because of that, I got to a point where you're so comfortable with the football. However the ball comes to you, you can receive it. Whether it's your instep, as we said, or is the outside of your foot or your toe or your knee or your thigh, whatever, that ability was innate. And I think it's a lot of play. So that's why. So example, football comes to me and I know that, oh, where the player is, I need to maybe lift it. But to lift it, if a player is right next to me, the best way for me to lift it is to make sure I give it a little bit of a chip and a bit of power as well, with a little bit of spin on it. So it's because you're so comfortable kicking the ball. I think that's probably what that is. It's my version of an explanation. I don't know if that made sense, but it's just, I believe I've had more than my 10,000 hours of playing with the football. I think that's what it is. So it made me comfortable with the football coming to me, however, in whatever scenario. I felt confident. Don't worry, I've got this. I can control it. Probably that's what it is.
But you mentioned there love of playing, to express that love. Is that the kind of intrinsic, the first thing to have when expressing your art?
Absolutely. Because, like I said, because we get up now as kids, in the Western world, a child would need a toy. That more often than not is some kind of a motorized car, vehicle, or some kind of a toy horse, whatever. But back home, a lot of the time, from my point of view, myself, a lot of the time, it's a football. It's everywhere. You know, like I said, it's things that dime a dozen. You know, the local, your neighbor sells a football, or in this, a football is sold in the market 10 minutes away. And if you can't afford it because your parents are saying that, oh, whatever, you just, we used to have competition called socks ball competition, where you've got a football basically made, like I said, it's just one pair of socks and put as much rubbish as you can in there, like paper, anything you can find, just to make sure it's round. Do you see? So from that, it was so easy to fall in love with it because it doesn't matter what situation I'm in, I can have a game. So the love grew for it. So because you loved it so much, you always wanted to. And honestly, you see, like sometimes you might see in America, you see some kids with a basketball in the streets, you know, bouncing it, going along in the streets, putting it under the armpits and things like that. That was like us growing up, you know, in Ghana, where football was with me every single time I could think of. So I have had a lot of touches. So I could sit down. So example, we couldn't wait to watch our eldest play. You know, we just it's to watch them play and pick up a little thing, somebody then, oh my gosh, then you go and do it. And back there as well, the artistry of it, which is what we're talking about now, is in a sense where being able to do something creative on a football. You know, so you had to love it and you had to feel that I have to express myself in ways that you wanted to see, you know, how you wanted to see it done. So you feel like you have to express yourself that way to make it, you know, and that's it. So we just it's and when you think of those days, think back and you think, oh my gosh, those were the wonder years. Those were amazing years because you learned so much and you just had so much fun doing what you loved. That as what we talk about today. You didn't get paid for it, but I would get up every minute. That's the first thing I wanted to do. Sometimes you knew you go out there, you'll be late, you won't come home too late. Your parents will be looking for you. You might get a caning when you come back. Obviously, it's not allowed here, but it was worth it because the fun that you've had that day, you can do to me what you want. I've just, like you said, you know, I've been with my love. I've been, with, I've been doing what I love doing. So that's what it was like for us. You know, love watching it, love playing it, love being around, love talking about it. And that's what we talk about. Sometimes we get together, we talk about it, we talk about a skill that somebody done on someone or something that it was created that somebody's, oh my gosh, that was so. And the thing of going to school as well and everything else, you get recognition for having that skill, for having that ability to, you know, and it's the thing where you're not wanting to humiliate anyone. You just want to you just wanted to do something nice to get people excited because that's how you want it to be to get from watching people. Do you see what I mean? So that's what it was like for us. So you do it, all you want to do, just do something creative, something nice, you know, just and I think that's what the ability comes from, that the artistry of it comes from. Yeah, the sheer love of it.
Because I think so often you see people, or when we were playing, we do things, and afterwards someone might say you're showing off, but showing off has got nothing to do with it. It's you're in this moment and you can do something. You
Yep.
can do it and you feel like doing it. I mean, your mind is as far away from the other person as you can get
Yeah. Oh,
because
definitely,
you're
definitely.
totally in it.
Yeah. It's not, like I said, it's not humiliation. It's not trying to humiliate someone because you're there and you're thinking, this looks nice. I want to do that. This looks, you know, it's like you just do it because, like you're saying, it's the moment and the excitement of the fact that to show your ability, what you've got, what you feel, you know, and what you want to see from people as well. That's where you go out there, want to give people to, you know, to like you do something nice, and because, and like I said, because I think the fact that you're so comfortable with the football around your feet, you will do these things sometimes without you can't plan it. It just, because if I'm there, as you know, I'm receiving a football. If a player is rushing me, sprinting towards me, I, in your mind instinct, you know what to do, only because you've got the ability to do so. If the person is taking their time approaching you, and then or maybe you have to go attack the person, then you got a different mindset. Do you see what I mean? So then you do things as and when it happens, and you can't predict that. Oh, this is what's going to happen all the time. But you have to have that gift. I truly believe it's a gift to do certain things that it's not coachable. Because a lot of the great managers of the past, like what I think I forgot who it was. It might have been Bobby Robson said he couldn't coach Ronaldo R9. He just told him to go on the pitch and just, you know what, yeah, just go and play. Because he's doing things that you can't coach him how to do it. You can't teach him. Just give him the environment to say, you know, just go and play. That's what he used to say. How do you coach somebody like that? You see, so there's certain things you can't coach, and it's just it's a talent. It's a God-given talent.
I think like what you said there, just to, when you allow this opportunity to just play and maybe even not even think about the winning or losing, because in this moment, you just want to play. You want to enjoy the game. You're having, I mean, sometimes I used to dread the final whistle. I knew it was coming soon and I wanted the game to continue on.
Yeah.
And it seems like in there, I was just totally in it and time just flew by. What do you think about, Theo, when we hear about when you're in the zone? You're playing and you're in this zone.
Do you know what? And that's the thing, because you know, when I talk about football, like you said, I like to just, this is different in the sense where somebody say, oh, what is that way? But me, I just talk about football as in what the natural thing is. You're doing your thing, nothing matters to you. All you want to do is just have fun, play it, enjoy it. Now, at the end of the day, like exactly what you said there, we want to win matches. That's the whole purpose. We all want to win. Some people say, oh, they hate to lose, they hate to. Don't get me wrong, I don't like losing, but sometimes when we've played well, or I have played well in the way I think to myself, yeah, that was good. I've enjoyed it. Do you see what I mean? Because sometimes you might win a game, it might be so rugged because the manager or team has told you, oh, do it this way and let's put banks of this here and that there, but it's not enjoyable. You haven't really, do you see what I mean? So me, I truly believe being in the zone is a thing where I am playing exactly how I want to play. It's just flowing out of me. There's not a plan. There isn't, oh, drop back here and be in that position. I'm just playing the game as naturally as I know it. If I want to go there, I'll go there. If I want to go here, I'll go there. And it's like everything else, because you know you in the team as well. You have you because I'm not going to be, example, playing a 10 position and then you find me on right back all the time. It's not going to happen. But I'm in a position where I know where I'm supposed to be. So I would just go where I need to be at the right times. That to me is probably what I mean by in the zone, without necessarily saying tactically, or make sure you do this, make sure you do that. I'm just enjoying my moment. Do you see what I mean? And everything is oozing out of me. My touches are on point. My what you call, my energy is right. You know, I'm just enjoying the game. That probably what in the zone means for me.
Because how you're speaking there, it sounds like it could be like just, you could be a musician, you could be a painter, you could be a writer, and you're there and you're in the moment. And
Yep.
sometimes you don't even know what's going to come out. It's just there.
Mm.
And I guess with football as well, if you have the opportunity to be in a team and you're all in this cohesive unit, it's pure joy when the whole team is flowing like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, sometimes we talk about it with friends where some people are like, oh, you can't play football with 11 Messis. I'm like, who told you that? Why can't I play with 11 Messis? Do you see what I mean? If he's that good, trust me, he will be fine, you know, in all the relevant positions. But some people look at, oh no, he can't be a right back. He can't be that. Look, like we're saying, Because when you're in the zone, honestly, B, sometimes it doesn't matter where you are because you're in the zone, you're playing, and you're at that level that everything just flows. It's natural. It feels right. Do you see what I mean? It feels right, and you're just doing what it is that you need, what it is that you need to do. So, like you say, if we talk about musicians or people in different fields or whatever, I think that is when you know you're total mastery of what it is that you're doing. If it's music that you're playing, if it's football that you're playing, if it's I don't know any art form. You see, and that I think is probably when you have your best performances because you've been in positions where you've played. Like I said, I've been in the games where I've played, and even me myself. You don't try to always pat yourself in the back. You let other people do that. Sometimes you come off that pitch, you think to yourself, yeah, that felt good because you were in complete control of everything that you were doing. You see, so you felt like you could play in every single position, doesn't matter. You might be a center midfielder, you might be a right winger, you might be a goalkeeper. But when you're in the zone like that, bloody hell, give me 11 Messis right now, I'll be happy. Some people don't think you can. I will take that every day.
And sometimes I think now, especially when I speak to my nephew growing up, they were too fixated on positions. Because I think if you're with a cohesive unit, your teammate moves there, you instinctively move here. They move there, you move there, and it's not spoken about. It's
No,
just known. You don't need to speak about it. No need
no,
for a conversation. And it's that ease. And I think when you have that, you're in a group, you're in a team where you're in it together.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I use the analogy of 11 Messi because he's so good a player that wherever you put him, if there's 11 of them on that pitch, they would know how to behave, where to go to, what to do. Do you see what I mean? So that's what we talk about because sometimes I think now, and that's what a lot of the time we look at it at previously. I mean, it's getting better now, where we say the English teams tend to be a bit more robotic, more mechanical. Because we look at foreign teams, European teams, South American teams, they seem to be more free flowing. Because we talk about the Dutch team, um, 78, things like that. We talk about total football, knowing that if you all that matters because today you hear it. Someone says Rashford plays better on the left than he does on the right because on the left he can cut into his right foot and shoot. On the left, on the right, when it comes to his left, from his right to his left, he can't. I'm thinking, hold on a minute, you're a footballer. If you can play football, it doesn't matter where they put you on the pitch. You should be able to perform and get the job done. That's what a true footballer with all the talent and the God-given ability can play. Do you see what I mean? It's not about because there's too much stats nowadays. It's saying that if you're right back, you have to be that, and that's what I'm saying. Because now the British teams, English teams are much better now. Are getting better because we're having more and more so-called the players with more of this artistry we're talking about coming into. You look at a Foden like that, unreal, like the Gazas of the world and people like that. Because they getting better, and I think it's purely because the understanding that football, you have to be an all round. You get down the academies now where they're playing players in different positions, just so they get used to the idea of that maybe you might be a right-sided right back, you might have to play a 10 or a 7 or an 8. Do you know what I mean? Just to mix your game up. And I think they're copying a lot of what the Europeans and South Americans used to do. So, and on top of that as well, allowing the talents, the kids with a natural, when we say natural, when I say the word natural, I was even arguing with my little brothers about that last time. When I say the word natural footballer, it's it's what I talk about, things that players were born with, things that you can't necessarily teach. You just to encourage it. If a child has got it or the player's got that kind of ability, just encourage it. It doesn't mean because you want to play them right back or centre mid that, oh no, don't do that. You shouldn't use your talent this way. No, encourage it and nurture it, because if you put them on a football pitch, they will be able to use those abilities to do what needs to be done in whatever position. So I don't want to be sat here, somebody says, oh, Rashford can't play on the right, but he can play on the left. And you're thinking, you know, this is at that level of football, you should be comfortable that you can play in. Can you play? The first question that is, can you play football? Yes. Okay, go on the pitch and bloody play football. That's it. Don't tell me I can't. I'll rather play on the left, because, do you know what I mean? It's just, and these are the things we need to get away from. So, like you're saying, it's like I remember when I was in Ghana, I started as a left back, because when I started as a left back, there's so much talent on the pitch that I thought, yeah, I just had to get in the team. Left back. From there, I got moved to centre back. And then I remember when I came, remember when we were in school. I don't know if you remember when we were in school, I was a centre back. After a couple of games, right, our re-lecture, I don't remember his name. I don't know if you remember his name. Straight away, he's like, no. You're a midfielder. Only because he saw a little bit of ability. He's thinking, no, you got to play midfield. And that's when I joined you. Me and you started playing in midfield, and that was it. But it's like, as far as I was concerned, I can play football. You know, put me on the football pitch, put me centre back, centre mid, whatever. That's footballer. That's what we're talking about. Let's go and play football and stop telling me that I can't play on the left, I can't play on the right. You know, so it's artistry. I think I might have gone on a long hour. You carry on.
No, I think, you know, I think when you're talking there, also it brings to mind that when you play in this way, this creative way, the players who I've seen play and express themselves in this way have a sensitivity with their surroundings, sensitivity with the ball, sensitivity into knowing what's going on. And I think that this comes through them even prior to football, just as people as well.
Definitely. I remember one of my, a while back, sometimes he used to say to me, it's like, you almost play football like you're dancing and things like that, because you want, you know, because you're aware roughly where you are all the time. And like you're saying, you definitely need that aspect of knowing your surroundings. And naturally, and I would like to think so from your point of view, I believe that, because the kind of person I am as well, I think naturally, I don't think you could easily teach certain things about football. Like we're saying, we played football. We never got coached when we're young. We've never been coached before. Just been in teams where we had to do what we had to do because we've got that ability. So you like to think that, yeah, sometimes some aspects of your character is within that. As the natural person that you are, you got like a 360 view all the time. You like to be considerate in terms of, okay, this is what I want to do, but also at the same time realizing that, okay, this is how it impacts this individual or that individual. Is that we're talking about outside football. And the same thing on the football example, if I know that, especially the positions I played in, if I know that, the more often, if I'm involved in the game and I play well and I get a lot of the ball, inevitably we're going to win, because I feel like I will be right in the middle of everything that's happening. So therefore, it would mean me connecting with my attackers, being in communication with my defenders, making sure that I'm getting the ball. They're talking to me when they need assistance, when I need assistance from people, partners. So I think character of who you are probably has a lot to do with how you, the fact that you've got that kind of 360 view on the pitch as well. It probably does have something to do with that. And that's what I'm saying. This is deep, isn't it? It's almost like philosophy kind of work we're discussing that.
But also, I think when you're playing with someone and they're maybe at the top of their game and they're expressing themselves, they may get a lot of the ball, but for you as a player, playing with them is a delight, because they're giving you the ball at the best moment for you to have the ball. they're putting passes through for you to make runs, you know, and even just signaling. So I think you may have one particular person who's doing this, but it feeds through the team, and because they're playing well, I think it raises the level of the other players as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because it's example, like you're saying, because talking about my position, when I'm playing as an 8, or I'm playing as a centre mid, if I'm playing a 10, whatever position, I'm looking at it that when I get the ball, exactly what you said, I know what I expect a forward player to do. And if the forward player knows that, okay, this individual is going to do that, or going to give me the ball when I make this run, or when I call for the run, whatever, automatically, like you said, they're also on high alert as well. Or the moment the player gets the ball, they're thinking, I know what this guy is like. I know he's the kind of person that will find me. So I've got to start making tracks. Do you see what I mean? So then that's what I'm saying, that in that position, I felt a lot of the time when I was in my zone, as what you said, that when I did have the ball, I had the right movements. I had people making the right runs. And also, my instinct as well is to force you to make a run. Because I know that if I see in a position, I will be thinking, you know what, he hasn't made that run, but let me play the ball that way. So then he will realize that, oh, sugar, I have to make that run, or I have to make that movement because of what he's done. Do you see what I mean? And I'll position myself in places where to make sure people feel like, look, I can give him the ball. You have to be that confident. And like you say, we play, I remember I used to play with players, and they'll be thinking, no matter how tight, if there's somebody next to you, as long as you call for the ball, they'll give it to you because they know you can handle it. You see, and that's what the trust, you earn that trust by obviously doing the right things. So as you said, you affect players knowing that, oh, if I've got the ball, I know Theo will be here, or I know that Theo calls it, I should give it to him, or I know that Theo's got the ball, I have to make this run. Or, like one of my friends, obviously, remember Derek and people like that, sure, people I used to play football. Because when I have the ball, I know what he's going to do, and I know what they're going to do. So instinct, and they know what I'm going to do as well. Do you see what I mean? So all of that. So you're talking about having an effect on 3, 4, 5 players in the team. I'm talking about defenders, attackers, wingers, your partner next to you, things like that. That's half the team. And if you earn that kind of trust from half the team, and they've earned your trust as well, 6 of us at least in the same wavelength, we can carry the others with us. So inevitably, one plays well, rubs off on the others, and as a unit, will be unstoppable. And that's what it is a lot of the time. With football, you don't necessarily need all 11 to be on top form. You need a certain fulcrum center, making sure that everything is in line. And if it is, do you know what? As a unit, they will be good. And that's what you used to aim for all the time. Like I remember, like you said, I played with you from school, and we played a triangle, A lot of the time I'm always in the middle. Sometimes you're with me, sometimes you play further up, sometimes you play behind me. But I knew that if you're on the pitch, I felt that, okay, you know what? I know what B can do. And then you know what I can do. Do you see what I mean? So straight away you start looking, like we talked about Robin and what's the name? Derek, people like that. We kind of trusted each other in certain aspects. And that is purely because, you knew that, yeah, this individual is well-rounded, that they can play the game how it should be played.
You sound like, there's, I was listening to an interview with Miles Davis and Herbie Hancock, the jazz musician. And Herbie Hancock said that when he joined Miles Davis's band, he had to raise his game, or Miles forced him to raise his game.
Yes.
And I think sometimes you see players who join other great players and they go up 10%, 20%. Being around players who can express themselves, it brings as well something out of you that you may not necessarily have known was even there.
Yeah. Absolutely. absolutely. Because being in my position, I've played with players, like you said, like yourself and, so many others as well, that things happen and you start and you think just, okay, today, and like I've had, especially like you got, because a lot of the time you look at central midfield or position, you're thinking, okay, it's about creating as many chances as possible. But you might have someone that is so good in terms of movement and things like that. That exactly what you said. Your game has got to be on point. So I know that if, for example, in the game, I haven't given that person 10 chances because of what the opportunities they have, I've almost failed. And if you give them that amount of chances, invariably you're going to win the game. Do you see what I mean? So there are players you've played with. I remember in school, you probably don't remember. We played. There's a guy we played with. I don't know if you brought him, and he's a striker. His movement was so good. Every time, because it's almost like every time I had the ball. My instinct is if I don't find him, we're not gonna be as successful. So straight away, your instinct is like, yeah, I need to do that. I need to do this. I need to make sure that So yeah. So it raises your game, and on top of that, like I said, you playing at that level is what it is all about, and that's why I look forward to that. You want to be challenger. You want to pull out all the stops and push your uh, abilities to that level. You want to make sure that you can perform and live at that kind of level. You're like, yeah, I can handle this, and that's what it was about. Because you've got the ability and you wanted to push yourself all the time. As I said, from a child back in Ghana, you remember little things like that. So yeah, so definitely that had a lot of impact.
We've talked for, was it almost 40 minutes so far, and
Mm-hmm.
we haven't even
Oh,
mentioned like really winning or losing. We've talked about just the
amazing.
freedom of playing. And I remember the first team that inspired me was Brazil 82. Zico, Socrates, Adair,
Yeah.
Falcao, and they lost in the second round. But how they played, what they did on the pitch, it was like they were just creating something that I had never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was always something that I wanted to do playing football. Like you said, winning and not playing the right way was never enough.
Mm-mm. No.
It was about doing it with something different. You know what? It's just like playing the game how we enjoyed watching it. Really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's exactly what it is, because I cannot go on the football pitch and like you said, because it's not about trying to outrun the team, out strength the team. It's about using what we've naturally got to see if we can do better than what they. That's it. Just go out there and express ourselves and what it is that we've naturally got, and see how that works. Because I remember a couple of times, well, a few years ago, about 3 years ago, where some of the veterans we've tried to play against some of the young ones, and a couple of times, the first few times we actually got the better of them, where they were thinking, oh my gosh, what is that? And we're just saying, look, it's not about physical abilities. It's about what's natural and what's here as well. We had that above them. So eventually, because they're fitter, they're stronger, and everything else, that used to come into you. We're older and everything. We're like, okay. But what was apparent is that we shouldn't live with it. We should not be living with it. These are people half our age. You see, but because of the pure ability that you've got, natural football that you play with, and that mindset is that nah, that's the only chance we had. Do you see what I mean? So that's what it was about. It was important to make sure that you play the game the right way and the results will come. That's what it's about. When you look at Barcelona philosophy, when they started, it wasn't easy, but eventually keep doing the right thing, keep doing the right thing, and trust me, It's what, and as a fan, that's what you want to watch. That's what you want to watch. You want to go out there, express yourself the way it's, and that's what I'm saying. As a youngster in school and everything else, it was just that you go out there to try and do things that were exciting, things that were beautiful to you, that you've seen somewhere. You're like, that was nice. So you try certain things, or it's just pure skills. That's the word I didn't want to use, but pure skills. Ability on the ball and creativity that we call today. That's what you want to get, because as a fan, that's what I want to see. I don't want to go and see mechanical players running, up and down for 90 minutes. I wanted someone to excite me, and I'll go and I think to myself, bloody hell, what was that about? And I want to go and try it. So yeah, so that's what it's all about.
I remember on one occasion, some friends and I went to the park, and I think it was me, Chev, Jeff, and a few others. Yes, and like we played, so we were like some good players. Okay,
the old school, the gang.
Yeah, so we went down to the park, and there was these. I think there were Spanish and Portuguese guys, and they were kicking the ball around. So he goes, come on, let's have a game. We thought we would just, beat them, no problem. Theo, they took us to school. It was. I mean, it was just that they just kept the ball pass. And in the end, it was demoralizing. And I came off thinking, I've had an education because how we were playing, run here, they hardly read at all.
Yep.
It was all in here. And I think they were a lot older as well. Mm-hmm. And I think, do you know what, Theo? I think that was just before I decided to join. Demonato Taylor's. We went to
the park, Battersea Park. Yeah. Yep.
And I realized I needed to find a different way of playing. Mm-hmm. What did you find, Theo, when we joined that team, low Italian team? Mm. What did you learn from that?
Yeah, no, but like you said, that's exactly what it is. Because, as you said, where you realize that these are technical players. Do you see what I mean? And remember, even the coach, the old guy, that I've forgotten his name. We went to go a couple of times. Yeah. Even him, he had a bit of ability, but he was slow. He was very old. But that's where you realize that on that level, the game was, you know what? It wasn't physical anymore. It was pure ability, maneuvering the football to make sure that, you've got control of it. And you know that if you hold on to it too long, or you don't have the right technical ability to control that ball or keep it, somebody will come and take it off you. So you had to be on point. And the thing is, I learned that how I was built to play football kept me instead, even at that time, when like you said, when we got to that. But when we got that, we were a little bit older than what obviously when we first started. But it made you realize that that's the right way to play, because you could still play at that level. Because remember, I think it was myself, you, because they were even allowed about 3 foreigners or something like that at that time. Yeah, and we used to get in. So it made you realize that, you know what, football, we're playing it the right way. So we, and that's, I never doubted that, but it just made you realize that, and for them to appreciate what we had as well, to put us in the team, it made you feel proud that, I can live at this level.
I think from that team, what I learned was how they approached the game as well. Do you remember going into the change room and they would have on the board the positions? I never had that before. And they would sit down before the game reading their newspaper. It was just this, it was more, intellectual, wasn't it? It was more of an approach to playing. Mm-hmm. And their conversations, I found, were a bit different.
Yeah, I think the languages, and the language was obviously Italians and all sorts of different languages there.
Yeah. I think it was as well, going into that and learning. I mean, so I guess for all art forms, even in football, if you can approach it that you can always learn something, you can always learn, you can always get better.
Mm. Absolutely, absolutely.
Because I think sometimes you can get caught up in the win or lose. I mean, football is a sport, so the aim is to win. But
Hmm.
sometimes I look back and I don't remember the results. I don't remember the cups or trophies won. I remember feelings on the pitch, how it felt to play. I remember the laughter, the banter that went on.
Yeah.
I remember certain moves which you don't get stuck in my own. How did he do that? Or
Yeah.
that was a great pass or a great
Hmm.
movement, or even a great tackle
Mm.
can do that.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's see, and it's like we talk about the world today. It's so stats heavy that sometimes you forget because sometimes you talk to someone, obviously, even people that some people that have even seen R9 and R7, because it's statistics wise, R9 cannot compete with R7 and stuff. But like you said, to me, R7 can't go anywhere near R9, not even close in terms of what I want to see a footballer does. A footballer do, should I say. So it's a thing that we we enjoy the game when it was like that, when it was played in that kind of way where it's pure ability, you're excited, like you're saying, you go there, you had fun, you saw passing, you saw dribbling, you saw, tackles or whatever it is, in a way that we might have won 5-0 or drawn 5-0, whatever it was. That was, yeah, okay, that was great. But the fact is how much fun we had on that pitch, just playing the game the way it should be played, and that was fun. And like you're saying, that it wasn't about, because sometimes we were lucky in when we were, especially a triangle, we had people that understood that let's play this game in a way that was enjoyable. We had people to do the right things, but we also had make sure that as long as some of us are doing the right, they're playing the game the right way, we would get far. And that was fun. Mate, I used to love those years. I used to love those years, especially when we met Triangle A. Remember we met them in the final, and I got injured. Oh God, I'll
Oh
never
yeah.
forget that, man. I nearly died, mate. I nearly died. But yeah, but that's what it was about. It was just fun playing the game in a proper way. So yeah, so that's how it should be. But this day and age, we're just too stat heavy. Everyone talk about, oh, how many accurate passes, or how someone is the most fouled player, and the most, I don't know, throw-ins or some rubbish like that, statistic based, and they use that to grade and tag players. And I just think that's just so wrong nowadays. But unfortunately, that's the world we're in at the moment. Some stats are good, don't get me wrong. Some stats are good. You can use it to acquire players, but too much of it is unnecessary.
And you know as well, and I think to be expressive can be risk. So you've got to allow the element of risk. They're gonna play a pass and it might not work. So you're gonna have to allow him to do that because it may not work 7 times, but on the 8th time he
Hmm.
will get it. And I think sometimes if you're told, especially at a young age, no, don't do it, don't do it, you limit the way they can express themselves. Because now, oh, it's too risky to try that pass. It's too risky to do that dribble. And you're inhibited. And I think if you come off a pitch and you feel inhibited, you haven't expressed yourself. It doesn't matter if you've won or not. You have this feeling when you go home that it wasn't right. I couldn't be me.
Me, yeah, absolutely. Because even now, I've got little brothers that have played football, Chelsea, and sometimes I remember I used to tell one of them previously that I know you because I will never try and coach you on the line or tell you do this, whatever, because the coach is probably giving you instructions. You just got to follow it. But through the game, at some point, you got to have your spots. Do what's natural. Do you see what I mean? Have your spots where, example, if you're great as a dribbler, have a few spots where you dribble. You know, just sometimes you listen to what the coaches say, maybe a third of the time, do something for you. It might not always go well, but you have to keep trying it because that's the only way. Because otherwise, if you lose your identity, you might not even get in the team in the first place.
Mm.
Do you see what I mean? So rather go out doing what you believe is your natural, use your natural gifts. Do you see what I mean? And like you said, and I think now, that's what I was saying earlier, it's probably encouraged a bit more now, where before, previous, I'm sure of it, where the mentality was, they'll coach it out of you. You know, there's certain things, like I told you, I don't know if I ever told you, no, I don't think it was with you. I think it was with, because I went to a while ago. I mean, this is the age when we first started, went to Tooting Mitchell trial. And because there was a friend of mine who used to play for the team. And he said, Theo, you know what? You fit in. Let's go semi-pro, boom, 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 whatever. Let's come try. I said, cool. So we went up there, and that trial, one of the drills, they told me to do a drill. What the drill was to take on a midfielder, go to the wing, and then cross the ball with the left back, approach him and cross the ball into the box for waiting strikers to score. So I did it the first time, went past midfielder, went hit the line, the left back blocked the ball. Second time, he saw it again. So he closed with us. So it was difficult to cross it. So the third time I went, but instead of crossing it from the line, I cut it back and I used the outside of my right foot to cross it in. I crossed it in. We got a header, but it didn't score. What? That's the what I told you to do. I told you to go down the line, cross it in. What are you doing cutting back? And all I'm thinking, where's the creativity? You told the whole pitch that I should go down the line and cross the ball in. The left back knows what I'm going to do. The centre back knows what I'm going to do. So where is the creativity? So me cutting back, trying to do something which is natural, and it worked, he didn't like it. So you can imagine the younger ones, because remember, this time I was much older. I think I was probably about 17, 18, whatever. So imagine the younger ones trying things like that if they've been told something different. It would probably scar the individual thinking, sugar, I'm not going to do that again. So straight away, you become mechanical. You will always hit the line, always cross it. But I just thought to myself, the left back knows what I'm going to do. That's not real. It's not a real, do you know what I mean? It wasn't a real kind of things that you get into. So it's a thing where that's what I used to tell my little brother. And to me, I think now it's encouraged a bit more where they're allowed to be more creative and put their personality in games. Whereas previously, because I've experienced it, and I also truly believe that it wasn't as encouraged as it is probably now. So now we're getting more players that are a bit more versatile or a bit more creative, should I say, and they use a lot more of their natural God-given talent, ability, like your Foldens of this world, and Mounts and people like that. So it has probably changed in that aspect.
Do you think it's the same with any kind of art or creative endeavor? A child would like to do something, football, painting, drawing, and just to say to them, just express yourself. Just express yourself. Don't worry too much about the outcome, right or wrong or whatever. Just see what you can do and see what comes out.
I think depending on the kind of teacher or individual you get, I think that's where the difference is. Because a Pep Guardiola will coach football completely different to how, I don't know, a Sam Allardyce. I know he doesn't like being pigeonholed like that, might encourage how football should be played. So I think sometimes it depends on the teacher and whoever it is that you've got in place. Because some people would encourage it, others will frown upon it, or others, because they're not too sure about it, they wouldn't even know how to teach it and how to handle that situation. So I think in all walks of life, this applies, because you might be in a work environment where a manager might tell, listen, just give me a quick and dirty solution. Or another manager will tell you, you know what, come with suggestions, bring me a solution that works. And then we'll look at the pros and cons of that solution. And then whichever one works, we just go with it. Do you see what I mean? So it really depends on who the decision maker is, whoever makes the decision, how they want to approach the work environment.
I guess if we can create an environment where that person feels safe to express themselves and experiment, they will bring the best out of them, because I think fear may be the biggest killer of whatever you want to do. Fear of not getting it right, fear of being wrong, fear of not being as good as someone else, that really inhibits you. So if you are fortunate to be in a space where you're allowed to just be yourself and whatever you do is okay, maybe that's the kind of environment to foster in all kind of creative art forms.
Yep. And it's not a coincidence that example, they talk about some of the tech giants. You talk about like a Apple work environment, or even Salesforce work environment, Microsoft work environment, where, example, they've got like a Ohana, where it's like a family view, where you've got a well-being room, where, example, if you're feeling a bit tired, you can take a nap. Or if you feel like you want to have a conversation with people, whatever, there's a room where you can sit and be creative and talk and make the most noise. Or there's a room where you can have like a games room where you can play table tennis or go on the PlayStation, whatever. But there's a lot of tech companies like Apple, or Steve Jobs, I read his book, and they create that kind of environment where they allow free thinking, flexibility, make mistakes, do what you've got to do, come with solutions. You might bring something, they'll be like, okay, this is good, but can you think of that aspect of it? Or maybe add this a little bit extra. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's fostering an environment where, you know, it's like what Apple say is think different. Do you see what I mean? That's the Apple emblem from way back, what the saying was from Steve Jobs, think different. It built that environment. So you have, it's the biggest company in the world. So you have that kind of productivity from the workers, from the engineers and things like that. So that is definitely the way to go. Allowing people, because like I said, in relation to football, you can't coach an R9, or you can't coach a Maradona. You just can't teach them to do what they do. You just let them get on with it. So sometimes these people, free thinkers, just let them come with things, create things. Because I can imagine, as you can imagine, probably the first person that ever said, oh, she will put a camera on a mobile phone, he probably got laughed out of the room when a mobile phone first came out. But guess what? It is what it is today. You got a camera on a mobile phone. You see, so these are the free thinkers, people that think different. So allow that. So I believe football, all walks of life, if you encourage or have an environment for people to be themselves, you will always thrive. Because what people have got naturally, what people gifts that they've been born with, whatever, you cannot sometimes comprehend. Sometimes you just got to leave them and let them do what they've got to do and come out with it and say, yep, go ahead with it. It's like Microsoft, some of the programmers, some of the things that Bill Gates would just, yep, bring it, and we try and improve on it, and we'll make it better and better and better. So I honestly believe that massively. You allow that kind of creativity, allow them to be themselves. I mean, not everybody is going to be everyone's cup of tea. But if you allow that kind of environment, you will have, more often than not, you will see true talent. So, and that goes football, and that goes in a corporate world as well, or in life in general. I truly believe that.
And also, I guess as well, is to trust in yourself. Painter, artist, singer, if that's what you feel passionate about, do it. Give it a try. Do your best. And no, a lot of people may not like it, but that's okay because you're doing what you love to do.
Yep.
You're doing what brings you joy, what brings you happiness. And if you do it authentically and true to you, people will be drawn to that, I feel. Because I think people are naturally drawn to truth and honesty, what's coming out of other people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that goes so far beyond football. It's unreal. You know, as you said, you know, if you see someone and the person is real, that's the kind of person you gravitate towards. You know, you're like, yeah, okay, I know where it's coming from. But somebody will be fake, or you know, they do things that it's not natural. And like all of us, we, you know, because example, I might meet someone, but their characteristics tell me that no, that's not the kind of person. I don't really feel the energy. Maybe it's not real. Do you see what I mean? So authentic is always is the right word. It's just be real in anything, or people are encouraged to to behave in that way. You know, we talk about well-being. You know, we talk about well-being, providing an environment for people. You know, less stress at work and things like that. Obviously, I mean that works. I'm sure well-being works because you provide environments for people to be comfortable at work, so they don't get stressed. Because as you know, is a massive killer. Things like that. The same thing goes to productivity, or what you actually pay people to do, or what, you know, do you know what I mean? We talk about a work environment. So if you give them that kind of environment for them to be themselves, you know, you might not like everything they do, but like you said, you know, I might get the ball, 7 dribbles, lose it. On the 8th dribble, I might create a winning goal, you know. But if you scare me and try and put me in an environment where I think it's sugar, if I make a mistake, you know, I'll be vilified for it, and I'll just be, you know, so straight away my instincts like, oh God, I'm not going to do that again. Or even when I'm doing, I'm thinking, oh no, I've got to get this right, because if I don't get it right, so and so is going to have a go at me. So you're not being natural. It's not flowing. You know, like we talk about zone. It's not you. But if you truly believe that that person has encouraged me to do what it is I need to do, honestly, I'll be good. It's like I remember even you yourself when we used to play as because remember you were the captain. Remember even at school, and what's it called, triangle. But a lot of the time, I felt that you were my biggest champion. So you told me, Sophia, you know what? You have to just go and be you. Just do what you do. And so straight away, I know that, you know what? If he's got my back, I'm good. I will just do what I need to do, what I would naturally do, and just make it work. You know, and more often than not, I felt comfortable to do what I needed to do, because I'm like, no, don't worry, B's there, he's good, he's got this.
I think, you know, one of the things I've learned doing these shows is whatever your field, whatever you want to do, if we can get together and just, you know, inspire each other, whatever your field is, and if you feel passionate about something, you know, give it a try and see where it goes. You know, your friends will have your support. And I think if we can foster more of that, there are things that I think maybe we can do that we haven't even thought of yet, ideas to inspire ourselves and, you know, inspire other people.
Yeah, definitely. And we all learn, like you said, we get the older, the wiser, because I like to think that I'm older and wiser. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those things, you like to think that, yep, you're growing in that aspect. So there are things you've learned, and we try and pass them to our kids, what mistakes we made, and try and make sure that they don't make them. So the same way, like you're saying, with friends, if you've been somewhere, you know the paths that are right and paths that are wrong, is to share that. And then, like you're saying, being in an environment where somebody else tells you that, you get on it and you think, okay, that's the way to go. Because like now I've got a group of friends, we talk about all sorts. You know, we talk about things that I would never have spoken about a few years back, like investments and things like that. That you're thinking, okay, that's a good conversation to have. Then you just jump on that, and then, like you say, if somebody else is interested, you pass it on. So definitely with knowledge, the only way to encourage or get better with it is just to share it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just to share that, because as they say, one thing, once you're sharing it, you don't lose it. In fact, guess what? You get more of it.
Mm.
So it's just, you definitely need to share, and it's important.
And I think as well, when you share it or whatever your work is and you pull it out there, you get feedback. And feedback is so important. And the feedback, so feedback from whatever you're trying to do, constructive feedback, I'm saying,
Yep.
when you're okay, then this might not have worked, you can tweak it this way, or even probably more importantly, you've seen this does not work in this situation. Now
Yep.
I can adapt, and now you've learned for yourself. No one's taught you. It's just by continuously putting work out there, practicing, giving it a go, just letting go of the fear and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to give it a go today. I'm going to try.
Yeah, definitely. And like you're saying, the ability to receive feedback as well is important, because some people, the moment they hear feedback, they're like, it's complaints. I'm like, not necessarily. And even if it is a complaint, I'm sorry, even if it is something negative, you just have to take it and work on it. And that's what they told my football again, my little brother. I think that he was so receptive, because once he had a bad game and he was feeling down, he was feeling a certain way about it. And I asked him, I think he was 13 at the time. And I asked him, I said, listen, because we're a big family, there's about 7 of us. And I called him into court and I said, listen, it wasn't a great game today, but guess what? This happens. So bottom line is that we don't have to talk about it. So we can leave it. I can tell the rest to leave you alone. Nobody's going to ask you any questions. Just leave it. And this is 13, and he told me that, he said, nah, bro, you know what? Yeah, let's go. Let's just go and talk about the pros and cons. And that was refreshing, because being receptive to me showed me that this is someone that understands how important feedback is. See, feedback, we make decisions on feedback on the football pitch, or in life in general. Do you see what I mean? So he took it all on, and he realized, okay, these are aspects that, yep, I need to get better at this, do that, whatever. So feedback, positive or negative, is important. The world we live in today, all the big companies, they take feedback. They ask us for feedback. A lot of the times they want to know what we actually think, and obviously the best companies act on it. Whether it's negative or positive, they know that this is something that we need to deal with, and then deal with it. But if you automatically think feedback is negative, and you don't want to know, and you're not interested, it won't help you in football or in life. Because like you said, in football, if you're told that, okay, you dribble to the right a bit too much, maybe try and use your left foot a little bit more. That's positive feedback that you need to know that, okay, all right, maybe they're right, maybe let me look into it. Because it's like everything else. One of my friends was even telling me, it's about the fact that there was a kid growing up basketball, and saying that he wanted to learn a lot. So he asked one of the greats, and he was telling him, also, how many free throws can you do? He said, I could do loads, with my right hand. And the guy said, okay, what about your left hand? And he was like, my left hand? He said, well, that's your problem right there. Do you see what I mean? That's positive. That's feedback to make you realize, okay, you can do it with your right hand, not a problem. What about your left hand? So in football, in life, in general, feedback, as you said, is important. We've got to learn how to embrace that, and just make sure we don't fear it. Once you fear feedback, it's a problem. Because there was once this is me going off topic, but there was once, I think there was an article where they said, what's the best question? Because there was a survey and someone gave 8 out of 10. And apparently the best question ever, what I was asked at the time was, okay, thank you so much for your feedback, for giving us 8 out of 10. Now, what the question now was, what would have made you giving us 10 out of 10? And that is awesome. Because that makes you realize, okay, 8 out of 10 is good, but they want to be perfect. So they're asking you, what would have made you give us 10 out of 10? Do you see what I mean? So that's a company that was willing to embrace feedback and say, yep. So feedback everywhere. Maybe I've gone off topic. It's football, life in general. It's massive. And we should not be afraid to receive it.
I think when you're in that mode of, I love to learn, I want to learn,
yes,
improve, then if you can come from that state, then anything you get back, you can use it. So even if it is in some stage not constructive, if you're able to hold that and say, okay, then I've learned now that whatever anybody says, I can't let that get to me. I've learned that from this guy.
Yes.
From this guy, he's been more constructive. I've learned how he views the game.
Yes.
I've learned from this person, how to prepare. We can always learn something, can't we? Whatever anybody says.
Definitely. And we learn every day, every single day. You pick up, and that's the thing. And the thing is that learning as well, it doesn't mean it's always going to come from someone who's older than you, the more experienced, whatever. It might be someone less experienced than yourself. It will say something and you think, oh yeah, that's a bit different. So we can learn from anyone. And like the mindset has to be that I am ready to learn, because that's the only way. That's the only way to grow. Honestly, that is the absolute only way to grow.
Theo, I think we're gonna leave it there. It's been a wonderful conversation.
Yes, it has. It's just gone on. Like I said, we could be sat here talking all day, mate. You know that already, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, everybody, thank you very much. So today we spoke about the art of football, and it connects with all things. So Grand Rising, Theo, and thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers for logging in. And hopefully you got something out of that.
We did, and thank you very much. And thank you for everyone to listen to Ran Usha's show number 16 on Conversations on Art. And I'll see you soon. Bye.